There are people who believe they can hurt me, but it makes me laugh because they don't know who I am, don't know my thoughts, and can't even touch the things that really belong to me. Our life can sometimes be complicated and stressful, with many problems to solve, differences to overcome with friends and family, challenges at work, and the need to take care of our health and finances. Dealing with all this can disturb our tranquility, but learning to act as if nothing affects us is crucial. It's difficult to remain calm, but we can do something about it. We can pretend that these things don't affect us and act without being dominated by circumstances. In this video, I will explain why it is so beneficial to be different and thus find more assertive solutions and answers to life's challenges. We would be grateful if you started showing your support through a like. Every time you do this, it signals to YouTube that you liked what you watched. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss all the valuable content we're preparing for you. Epictetus believed that freedom was the most essential aspect of life. If we are controlled by people or external circumstances, then we are not free. Learning to own our emotions is essential. If someone can make us angry or steal our joy, that person becomes our master, and we become their slaves. Achieving freedom is significant because once we are independent of these factors, we can be free both externally and internally, no longer subject to the influence of passions. We must do our best to free ourselves from external forces that seek to control us. Remember, you have the power to choose your behavior, as Viktor Frankl, the Swiss psychiatrist who spent 3 years in a concentration camp, demonstrated that no one can steal our freedom. We can choose our attitude in any situation. Many contemporary psychologists claim that it is impossible to always feel happy in difficult circumstances. Still, it is possible for those who have worked on themselves and practiced techniques that help maintain calm, serenity, and joy in any situation. Thus, everyone is capable of achieving levels of serenity in any situation, even if initially, we don't feel it internally. It is possible to continue being ourselves by opting for an indifferent attitude. We can choose not to react and pretend that things do not affect us. But what happens when we start pretending that something doesn't affect us? According to Epictetus, you become what captures your attention. He found that if we start acting in a certain way or paying attention to something, we eventually become that. You begin to believe that something doesn't matter and thus becomes relevant to you. This eventually becomes a reality in your mind with practice. At first, you may not feel that calm and tranquility, but over time, you will. William James, the father of American psychology, said, "If you want to acquire a quality, behave as if you already have it." As a result, William James found that if you start believing you have a certain quality, that quality eventually becomes yours as long as you remain calm and unaffected by circumstances. The same principle aligns with the Sheena theory that the steeper the learning curve, the more time you should practice. Initially, you may decide that something doesn't matter or is irrelevant. Still, it is equally important to keep control of your thoughts. This won't work if you decide that something doesn't matter and then regret or get upset about it in your thoughts. It is crucial to translate this video into Australian English. Aligning your external behavior with a consistent internal thought pattern is crucial. For example, tell yourself that nothing affects you, and nothing can affect you. Decide that no one hurts you, and you won't feel hurt. You have control over your thoughts, not external events. Understand this, and finding strength becomes quite simple. If you don't believe someone has offended you, you won't feel offended. Additionally, for someone to offend you, you need to accept the offense. Therefore, if you start telling yourself that no one can hurt you and that nothing can ruin your serenity, it will eventually become a fact. You will realize the strength of this strategy if you can externally convince yourself that nothing matters, and then internally convince yourself that nothing matters. By doing so, you become calm and resilient, immune to circumstances and what others say. Eventually, you will achieve true serenity, after which circumstances or people's behavior will no longer affect you. You will be able to maintain composure and serenity, and when you strive to keep composure, various aspects of your life will improve. You will notice a decrease in stress because it's not the things themselves that disturb us but how we feel about them. Don't forget that your interpretation of circumstances will also affect your level of ambivalence. If we learn to control our thoughts and behaviors, we will eventually be able to control our levels of ambivalence. If this happens, we will be liberated from external circumstances and have control over our internal states. The pursuit of freedom is an essential theme in Epictetus' philosophy. He believed that true freedom meant being independent of external circumstances and mastering our internal emotions. Freedom is not only related to our external situation but also to how we interpret and react to the situations we face. Epictetus uses the example of Viktor Frankl to illustrate the importance of choosing our attitude in the face of adversity. Frankl, a Swiss psychiatrist who survived a concentration camp, demonstrated that even in the worst circumstances, we can maintain the freedom to choose our thoughts and attitudes. This inner freedom allows us to find meaning and purpose even in moments of extreme suffering. Serenity is also a skill we can develop. Epictetus suggests practicing emotional indifference by choosing to act as if something doesn't affect us. Gradually, we become less susceptible to these emotional disturbances. This practice doesn't negate the importance of dealing with emotions but emphasizes the need not to be dominated by them. It's a journey that requires effort and patience, but the result is achieving true inner serenity. Epictetus highlights that through this achievement, we can be free regardless of external circumstances. Throughout the text, Epictetus emphasizes the importance of controlling our thoughts and behaviors. He reminds us that we are responsible for our own reactions and emotions and that we can choose how we feel in the face of life situations. Epictetus' philosophy can be a valuable source of wisdom for facing the challenges of everyday life and achieving a more tranquil and meaningful life. The practice of serenity, emotional indifference, and inner freedom can allow us to live more consciously, responsibly, and resiliently. Thank you very much for watching. What did you think of this profound lesson? Please let me know your opinion. If you are new here, consider subscribing to journey with us on the paths of wisdom. See you soon.